Slate, please.
Hi, my name is Mansoura Aslani.
And whenever you're ready.
4 years ago, returning to my hotel from doing field research at a small village in Imo State in Nigeria, our car blew a tire and flipped 3 times. I suffered a deep laceration to my left arm and required transfusion. The hospital was taken to didn't have many tubes to test blood property. The transfused blood was infected with HIV.
How soon after were you diagnosed HIV positive?
4 months after, 4 months later, and last year.
Ask her again. How much longer were you before you were diagnosed?
How-
Keep your eyes on Zarna.
How soon after were you diagnosed HIV positive?
4 months later. Last year I developed full-blown AIDS.
Do you think this has affected how you treat patients?
Since developing the disease, I believe I have more compassion than I did before.
Well, what about your attitude towards the work in general?
I feel an ever greater sense of dedication.
Are you a fanatic doctor?
Of course not.
How do you explain Natalie Miller's death?
Natalie's health was deteriorating very quickly. I felt the additional drug would boost her immune system.
Were you aware of any risks?
I knew there were substantial risks in giving her 7 medicines, all known to have adverse side effects, but I was only concerned with the here and now of her health and the possibility of her survival.
Do you regret your course of action?
I don't at all. This wasn't about experimentation for the benefit of others. I was trying to save a little girl's life. Unfortunately, I failed.
Doctor, are there any other doctors or nurses in the Children's Healing House AIDS ward diagnosed with HIV or AIDS?
There's one floor nurse and orderly. I believe that's all.
They're in the open about it?
Yes.
Why weren't you?
I felt it was a private matter. I still do.
Is there any prejudice in the medical community against doctors with HIV or AIDS?
There has been in the past.
Have you seen prejudice or ill treatment of the nurse and orderly on your ward?
No.
Isn't it true you kept your HIV and then AIDS status secret to avoid accusations that you're an opportunist?
That's absurd.
Isn't it true you used the children in your program as guinea pigs to test dangerous treatments in the hope they'd be beneficial to you?
I treated them aggressively, but selflessly.
People's 61, Your Honor. Do you recognize this, Doctor?
CD4 plus count. It's a test that measures Natalie Miller's T-cell count.
She measured 212. What does that number indicate?
She was in danger of getting AIDS.
People 70. Doctor?
Another CD4 plus count of Natalie's weights from 6 months later. She was up to 416.
Close to normal, right?
400 is normal, yes.
People's 85 and 89, Your Honor. What are these, Doctor?
They are CD4 plus counts of mine.
On the first test, you scored a 2.8. On the second, a 420, correct?
That's correct.
Would you note the date of those tests in relation to the ones for Natalie Miller?
I don't know. I don't know what you are trying to prove that.
You have the same T-cell count as Natalie Miller, only staggered back 6 months. That suggests your virus was mimicking hers, doesn't it?
I see a coincidence.
There are 16 CD plus counts in evidence for both you and Natalie Miller. If she scored a 316 6 months later, so would you. If she scored 420 6 months later, so would you. Your mutation patterns was a mirror of hers, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
then why is it every time Natalie Wade's CD4 count showed a viral load flare the next morning, you'd be on a plane to Costa Rica for treatment?
How many people have you watched wither away and die, Mr. Kobe?
You didn't want to suffer her fate, so you pushed her doses until they were fatal. Isn't that true, doctor?
If she had survived, we could have saved 80,000 children a year.
But you didn't. So she was salvaged. Is that correct?
I did what I thought was right. To save innocent people from a wasting hell.
And yourself too.